Can you tell me what are conditional annotation in Spring Boot?
Uh, Conditional annotation. So basically, in Spring Boot, conditional annotations are a set of special instruction that we can add to our code, right? So basically, they tell Spring Boot to do something only if certain conditions are met. So it's like setting up a rule that Spring Boot checks before deciding to execute the part of the code. So that's all about conditional annotation.
Okay. Have you used any conditional annotations before?
Conditional annotation. Yes, I have used conditional on class annotation in one of the time in my project. So basically, tell the Spring Boot to run the code part if only certain class is present. Otherwise, that part of code won't be executed if our mentioned class is not present in that annotation.
Okay. So, what are the purposes of using these conditional annotations? What do we achieve with them?
Oh, okay, okay. So, talking about purposes, by using these conditional annotation, we can have more control over the application on our code, because now we can
Mm-hmm.
decide whether the part of code is should be executed or not. So, the first purpose
Mm-hmm.
is to having more control on the code side,
Okay.
and the second would be now our project would be more flexible, because we can add conditional statements and make our code more flexible. And third would be efficiency. Now after adding these additional condition, we can increase the efficiency of our project, because now let's say if we don't want to execute any code of part, let's say our conditions are not met, so that would not run. So by this we can increase the efficiency of our project. Otherwise, if the condition, if we don't use a conditional annotation in that place, so code will be run in every condition.
Okay. Uh, can you explain the role of enable auto configuration annotation in a Spring Boot application? And how does a Spring Boot achieve auto configuration internally?
Okay, so basically, by using enable auto configuration, Spring Boot automatically configures our application based on the dependencies that we have added in the POM file. Okay, let's say we have added Spring Web MVC in our Spring Boot project. So by adding this dependency, so what enable auto configuration will do is it will set up a default web server for us, right? It will configure Spring MVC and all the default things, and it will take care all the error handling. So we don't need to worry about the configurations and all by using this enable auto configuration. So I can give you an example. Let's say if I want to book a trip, okay. So what
Mhm.
would I do is I would just contact an agent, and then I don't need to worry about my tickets, train tickets, hotel bookings, itinerary, etc. So all the things will be taken care by an agent. So that's how enable auto configuration annotation do in our Spring Boot framework.
Okay, so how does Spring Boot achieve this auto configuration internally?
Basically, Spring Boot achieve auto configuration through class path scanning. It looks at the libraries in our project's class path. The class path is like a list of resources and libraries our application knows about through the POM XML at running time.
Okay, so you mentioned class path.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you tell me what is this class path?
Okay, so when we run our Spring Boot project, so class path gets generated automatically. So basically, it takes the data from a POM XML file. I mean, when we add a lot of dependencies in
Mhm.
POM XML file, so those data would be transferred to the class path and converted into the key and value pairs. Then, yeah, that is class path.
Okay, so my next question is, have you worked or aware about the actuator endpoints?
Yes, actually, I have worked on the actuator endpoints. So basically, these are the endpoints that we can use in our application, and through this, we can monitor our application. Like we can do health checks, we can check the logs. So basically, by adding the dependencies in the POM file, we will be having some endpoints, and yeah, we can monitor.
Mm, mm. So, what is the dependency for this actuator? I mean,
Dependency.
I'm asking the dependency name of this actuator.
Okay, dependency name. One second. I think it is a Spring Boot starter actuator. So yeah, that's a dependency name that we can add in our POM file.
Okay, so can we secure these actuator endpoints?
Yes,
And
we can secure.
yeah, okay, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. So, if we secure, so if it is, how can we secure it?
Okay, okay. So actually, I mean, we can limit the exposure of our actuator endpoints. Let's say we have 4 5 endpoints, and we can expose only 2 or 3 out of 5 or 6, which all are not important, right? So this is one of the way to secure the actuator endpoints. And other than this, we can add Spring security. So it's a part of a Spring framework. So we can use the Spring security in the actuator endpoints, and we should actually use HTTPS instead of HTTP, since HTTPS has more security. And we can create an actuator role like actuator admin. So basically, by using the actuator role, so few permissions are would be associated to the admin role only. So that's how we can secure the actuator endpoints.
Okay. Can you tell me, so what strategies would you use to optimize the performance of Spring Boot application?
Okay, so what strategies? Okay, so basically, I would you implement caching for frequently accessed data. I would optimize data queries to reduce the load on the database. I can use asynchronous methods for operations like sending emails, etc., where there are multiple calls, and when we don't want to wait for one call, so I can use the asynchronous method. And load balancer is also one of the way to optimize the application. By this, we can balance our load if the traffic is high, and I can optimize my code base. Let's say somewhere in our code, we are using ON square time complexity, and if I can reduce it to ON log n or ON, so definitely I will optimize the code, and then I can use Webflux to handle a large number of concurrent connections. So I right now I'm getting these things. So yeah, I would use these strategies.
Okay, so what is this Webflux?
Okay, so basically, Webflux is a part of Spring framework. It's like a way to make our web app more responsive, efficient, and able to handle lots of user or tasks at the same time without slowing down. And I think, yeah, so that's all about Webflux. So actually, I'm not too familiar about Webflux.
Okay, no problem. But do you know any example?
Example, yes, yeah, I can give the example. So let's say we are at fast food restaurant. Okay, so in a traditional setup, there is only one cashier taking orders. Okay, if lots of people come in at the same time, the line gets really long and people have to wait a lot, right? So Webflux changes the game by adding more cashier. right? So orders can be taken faster and more efficiently. Even if there is a sudden rush, the system can handle it smoothly without making any wait too long. Yeah, so I think this is a good example of web flux.
Okay, yes. So yeah, it's a good example. Okay, so now moving on to the next question. Can you tell me what is aspect-oriented programming in Spring Framework,
Aspect-oriented programming is basically one of the
also known
program.
as AOP?
Yeah. So basically, it's one of the programming approach that helps in separating concerns in our program, especially those that cuts across multiple parts of an application. It's helpful to think about in terms of a real world analogy. Let's say, I mean, in programming, AOP does a similar thing. So our main program code focuses on the core functionality, while the aspects take care of other common tasks that need to happen in various places, like logging, security checks, or managing transaction. For example, in Java application, we might have methods where we want to log information every time they are called, right? Or check that user has the right permission, right? Instead of putting this logging or security code into every method, we can define it once in an aspect, and then specify where and when this code should be applied across our application, right? This keeps our main code cleaner, more focused, and faster. So yeah, that's all about aspect-oriented programming.
Okay, can you give an example of an advanced use case of AOP?
Use advanced use case of AOP. Yes, I can give. So let's assume we have created an online store application, right? Now we are checking if a user is allowed to perform certain actions like viewing order history or making a purchase. So this is known as authorization, right? And it's crucial for keeping our store secure and ensure users can only do whatever they are supposed to do, right? So in a traditional setup, I mean, without EAOP, we might find ourselves writing the same security checks over and over in a lot of methods, right? Which can get repetitive and messy. But with AOP, we can write these security checks just once, and we can then apply it wherever needed. So this is one of the use case, what I know. There might be different use cases as well, like logging, etc.
Okay, moving on to the next question. Can you explain how Spring Boot profile work?
Spring Boot profile. Yes. So basically, Spring Boot profiles are a great way to manage and separate configurations for different environment in an application, like development, testing, and production. Think about like having a different set of settings for a video game, where we might have one set for solo play and another in multiplayer. So in this case of Spring Boot, these settings can include like database connection, external service URLs, or custom application setting, etc. So when we are developing an application, we need it to behave slightly different depending on where it is running. So as we know, we might have multiple environments for our application, like dev, prod, QA, etc., etc. So for example, we might want to use a real payment service in a production, but a mock service during development to avoid the actual changes. So let's say application dev.properties for dev environment, application hyphen prod.properties for prod environment. And we can activate this by using a spring profile, spring.profile.activate is equal to dev. So that's all about Spring Boot profiles and how they work.
Okay, so which file do you use, either YML or properties, in your current project?
Uh, in my current project, basically we are using YAML file, YML file. Yeah.
So do we have any benefits using YML over properties file?
Yes, using ML files over traditional property files in Spring Boot application, there are several benefits. First benefit, it can be readability because of its structure and indentation. It also supports several data types like string, numbers, boolean, list, and maps, and it also have very good hierarchical structure. So I think these features make YML file more preferable over properties files, and that's why we are using this file in our project.
Okay. So how would you modify an existing Spring Boot application to convert it into a serverless architecture?
Into serverless architecture. So I think actually I haven't worked on the serverless architecture before. So
Okay, 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 no problem. Okay, so moving to the next question. Can you explain what is Spring Cloud and how it is useful for building microservices?
yeah, basically, Spring Cloud is one of the components of Spring Framework, right? It helps managing microservices. Let's say we are having an online store application, like a virtual mall, right? Where different sections handle different tasks. So in the similar in this app, each store or section is a microservices, right? One section handles customer logins, another manages the shopping cart, one takes care of processing payments, etc., etc. So similarly, in the microservices, we divided big task into the smaller task this way, right? So building and managing such an app can be complex because we need all these sections to work together, right? So customers should be able to log in, add items to their cart, pay for them, browse without any problem, etc., etc. That's where Spring Cloud basically comes into the picture. It helps microservices in connecting the section, balancing the crowd, keeping secrets safe, etc., etc. So yeah, that's all about Cloud and how it is useful.
Okay. So just let's suppose you need to ensure zero downtime deployments for a Spring Boot e-commerce application.
Okay.
What approach would you take?
Okay. So to ensure, can you repeat the question?
Suppose you need to ensure zero
Mm-hmm.
downtime deployment for
Mm-hmm.
Spring Boot e-commerce web applications.
Okay. Okay.
What approach would you take?
Okay. Zero downtime deployment. So I think I can use uh, two different environments. Let's say env1, env2, right? In one of the environment, we can have a live production, live deployment, and live application. In other environment, we can do our changes, right? I mean current changes, current feature changes. Okay, when the current feature changes are done, so we can deploy the second environment, and we can be the live on the second environment env2, and make the first environment as a dev. So we can toggle these two different environments when we deploy any new feature or any new changes. So I think,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah. That seems correct, but I was expecting a different approach. Do you know about canary deployment strategy?
Canary deployment strategy. No, actually, I haven't heard about this.
Okay, okay, no problem. So, okay, moving to the next question.
Mhm.
Uh, can you explain what is component scan and how would you prevent a specific package from being scanned for components?
Component scan is basically one of the feature of Spring Framework, and it is used for detecting and registering our beans classes as Spring components automatically. Instead of registering them explicitly in an XML file, we can I mean we can explicitly define the packages want to scan by specifying the base packages, and through this we only the specified package will be scanned, and this way we will be excluding the package we want. Yeah,
Okay.
that's so. Mm.
We can also use this exclude filter attribute.
Yeah, yes, yeah. Sorry, we can also use exclude filters
Yeah,
to
okay.
yeah exclude.
Okay, so now can you explain what is the default embedded server providing by the Spring Boot?
Uh, Default servers. Yeah, Tomcat.
Yeah.
Tomcat server is basically a default server.
Can we change it?
Uh, yes, we can change it. I think first we need to exclude the default Tomcat server, right? Then we can add the dependencies of different server, whatever we want. Like we can add Jetty instead of this Tomcat.
Okay. So,
Mhm.
okay. So, have you visited Zomato in your phone? I mean, is there the application is there in your phone?
Yeah, yeah, I have visited multiple times.
Okay, good. So, how would you design Zomato backend from scratch?
Zomato backend from the scratch. Okay, let me think. Okay, so first I will be trying to create a different microservices, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say first I would split the whole idea into the different parts, like, and we'll create those as a microservices, right? Let's say first one would be the user authentication and user schema and all, right? And the second module would be the add to cart, right? And the third one
Mm-hmm.
is a checkout. I will create the checkout microservices, and one would be the home page, right? We are when we open the app and we see
Mm-hmm.
a lot of lists, so that could be another microservice. And there would be two more microservices I would create. One would be a food delivery partner, a delivery boy, right? And one would be the uh, 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 mm, food restaurant partners. So first, then I will just try to create the schemas for all, like food delivery partner, user, and that restaurant partner. Okay, then after creating a schema, I will uh, connect them, right? I will create the service logics and adding the
Mm-hmm.
database things. Okay, so yeah, that's how I would. I mean, that's how I would design backend from the scratch.
Okay, so you mentioned delivery partner. Can you design the schema for a delivery partner?
For delivery partner, okay, so I will tell. I'll tell you all the fields, right? Whichever
Mm-hmm.
I would write while designing this schema. So first is delivery partner ID. That would be the primary key, right? Then delivery partner name. Okay. Then delivery partner Aadhaar ID, right? Because we must identify our delivery partner, right? And then there would be delivery partner's driving license, because if delivery partner is using any motorcycle, right? So we would definitely
Mm-hmm.
need the DL. And then we would use some personal information of delivery partner, like mail ID, phone number, emergency contact number, address, etc., etc., right? And then I would create one second, some flags, right? Is it, let's say, is
Mm-hmm.
one flag would be, is delivery partner available? Maybe he's doing someone else. I mean, he will be delivering someone else food, so
Mm-hmm.
that field would define whether he's available or not. So yeah, this I think these are the mandatory fields which I would be creating while designing the delivery partner schema.
Okay, so what about their location? You miss location, right? It's also mandatory,
Yeah, yeah, sorry.
isn't
So
it?
yeah, yeah, location field would all be mandatory, because only through the location we would be, I mean, calculate the distance and all. Yeah, definitely this field.
Yeah, correct, correct.
Mhm.
Uh, Okay. Can you now design the schema for food delivery partner?
Food delivery partner. Okay, so first I would there would be I mean first field would be delivery sorry food delivery food partner delivery partner ID, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then it's PII, personal information like name, ID,
Mm-hmm.
email ID,
Mm-hmm.
phone number, emergency code, contact number, or okay, food restaurant name, FSSI, then FSSI license number, then location because it's also necessary, and then
Mm-hmm.
location, and then contact number. Yeah, that I think that's all schema I would.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Okay, so now moving to the next question. Can you please name the data structure which you are using, like in your current project?
In my current project, we are currently using ArrayList, uh, HashMap, and HashSet, and we might use, I mean, more. But right now, what I'm getting is, I mean, we would be using these field: ArrayList, HashMap, and HashSet.
Okay. Is HashMap organized and sorted internally?
What
Uh,
can you repeat?
HashMap is HashMap organized
Mhm.
and sorted internally?
No, HashMap is not sorted and organized. So basically, tree map is sorted and organized internally in the collection framework.
Okay.
Mhm.
So can you tell me the time complexity for common operation like insertion, deletion, retrieval in a HashMap?
Time complexity for the it's open for all because we don't make the elements I mean order. So yeah, it's open constant time.
Okay. And what is the complexity for tree map?
Tree map yeah, for tree map it's o log n because here internally we are using balanced binary search tree, and as we know for the balanced binary search we need at least o and o log n from going from top to bottom. So yeah, that's why here it's o log n.
Okay, so in Java, what is the difference between a weak reference and a soft reference? And
Mm,
how can they be useful in managing a collection of objects?
weak reference and soft reference. Okay. Actually, sorry, I have no idea on this. I'm not
Okay,
aware.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. Uh, can you tell me or explain me what is the advanced use case of release, linked list, and hash map?
Advanced use case. Okay, so I can give you an example of online library application. Okay, so in an online library application, we have a lot of books, right? So we can use array list for keeping books into the data, right? For browsing the books, right? And in each book, there would be a lot of pages, right? So just to keep the pages into the data structure, we can use linked list, right? And then for hash map, we can use I mean we can store user reviews here in the same application because uh, for one book we might have different reviews, right? So in the so basically hash map is a key and value pair, right? So in the key there would be a book, and in the value there would be a
Mhm.
list of reviews. So this is how we can use these array list, linked list, and hash map in an online library application.
Okay. Can you tell me whether Java is 100% object oriented or not?
No, Java is not 100% object oriented programming language because in Java we have primitive data types like int, float, etc. So they are not classes and objects. So that's why Java is not 100% object oriented programming language.
Okay. What is the use case of object-oriented programming languages in the enterprises projects?
Okay. Uh, okay. So by using object oriented programming in OOPS, we can organize our code, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it has a lot of features. Okay. And we can reuse our code, uh,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and obviously security would be increased, right? Because by using this oops we can now make our variables private productive. Okay, so I think yeah, these are the uses and of the object oriented programming language.
Okay. Can you explain what is the entry point in Java?
Okay, so actually in Java we have entry point is public static void main string args of array. So that's a entry point of Java application, right? So basically here public, we make our entry point public so that JVM can easily access our program or application, right? And we make our entry point static because so that JVM don't need to create an object, so that JVM can directly access this method. That's why we make our main method or main entry point as a static. And void means just we are not returning anything from the JVM, right? So it don't expect anything, right? And main is a default name for the entry point for the main method, so we cannot change it, right? It would be only main, right? And inside this main method there is a string args of array, right? So it's nothing but we sometimes we can pass the instructions or some other things through the command line. So that's why we use this string args. So that's all about this Java entry point.
Mhm. Okay. Can we create a server in Java application without using Spring Framework?
Yes, we can create a server in Java application without using the Spring framework. Java actually provides built-in support for building servers, mainly through a package called java.net, which has all the essentials to set up network connections and handle data coming in and out. And one popular way to do this is by using the server socket class in Java. Okay, this class basically allows our Java application to listen to a specific port on our computer for incoming network request. That's a simple server we can create.
Okay. Uh,
Yeah.
can you share your screen? Like, I'll be sharing some of the code snippet in the chat box, and you have to tell me the output.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I'll 1 second. The code, right?
Yeah, just break it. Yeah.
Okay. 1 second. Class test protected xy, and then we have class main public static void main test. We are just creating a new object here of the class test, and we are printing t dot x and t dot y. So here t dot xy are this, and numbers we have not assigned them as any number. So uh, by default they will be 0. So yeah, so the output would be 0 and 0, 0 and 0, because initially
Can you
we have
explain it? Yeah.
yeah, because initially we declared this x and y, and we have not assigned any value to these variables. Okay, so when we call these variables from our this main method, so I mean when we
Mm,
will print these variables, so this will be 0. Both values would be 0. Yeah.
okay.
So let me paste this question. Mm, okay, so here class test public static void main for int I is equal to 0 system down print hello and then it will be break. Okay. It will print hello because all conditions are true. First it will print hello, then it will break.
Okay, are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
See, actually, if you see the loop, there is a compilation error in the code. You cannot use number instead of to false statement.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Here it's number. Yeah, we
See the
can.
condition inside the loop.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it would be compilation error because it here is one. We cannot use numbers instead of true or false. Yeah, this will be compilation error.
Okay.
Hmm.
So I have pasted another snippet. Can you copy that?
Yeah, sure. Let me copy. Hmm. This class main. Okay. Public static void main. This is method system dot arm print and here int fun return 20. Okay, and we are calling function. This is a public static void main static method, and in the static method we are calling the function, and this is returning true. Okay, but this function is not a static. Yeah, so yeah, this will also this is also a compilation error case because as we can see in the in this method in the main method, it's a static method. Okay, so in the static methods we are calling a function that is not a static. Okay, so it's not
Mm.
it will not I mean run because in Java we cannot call a non-static method from the static method, so output will be a compilation error.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just sharing another snippet. Can you copy that?
mm, yeah, yeah. Public package class base void base, this is base class method, and drive we are extending from base. Okay, and printing drive. Okay, class main. Public static void do print base. Okay, now dot print. Okay, and we are just calling the do print method, and we are first creating new base. Base is class and base is object, so first it will be print mhm, base, and then uh y means base y new derived, but class is y but object. Okay, so it will print derived, and then it will print because now in this case both are the child classes and objects are derived. Yeah, so it will print base then drive then drive.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so because see, this is the base class, right? And we are
Mm.
extending the base class from derived class. Okay, so
Okay.
in the base class we are printing base, where in the child class we are printing the derived. Okay, so this is the parent
Mm.
class, base class is parent, and this is the child class. Okay,
Mm.
and while printing, we are first creating a base class and base object. So that's why it will be base. But in case of y, class is base, but we are creating an object of the child class, derived class. So that's why the value will be from it will be take a value from print. I mean, it will be
Mm.
printed from the derived class, that's child class. So that's why derived. But in third case, everything is derived. I mean, class and object both. So that's why it would be derived.
Okay. Moving ahead. Uh, Another snippet. Can you copy that?
Yeah, yeah. Public class test, private in data 5. Yeah. Okay. Public in data return this. Hmm. This is for same method. Okay. Means this is three dots means array. Okay. Return data plus two. Test. Okay. We are just calling the get data but passing three values. Okay. It means this method would be called, and here data is 5. 5 plus 2 7. Okay. So yeah, it will print 7, because here we can see the three similar methods, get data and get
Mhm.
data. Okay. But the parameters are different. Okay. So but in the main method we are calling this get data method but passing uh, values more than one or two, right? That's three
Correct.
values we are passing. Okay.
Mhm.
So automatically it will call this get data, because this int dot dot basically behaves like an array in Java. So these three value would be passed, right? And here the private int data is 5. Okay. Or we have already data 5, so 5 plus 2 7, and then 7 will be printed.
Mm.